Hey there. Look, we're all here together. Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Dream. And tonight is the It's All Good Circle, of course, but you already know that because you're either here or you clicked on a link and you're watching us on YouTube. It is October 27th, Monday, October 27th. And it's a great day. Okay, I'm faking it a little bit. You see my name there, Dr. Dream, and his kidney stone, and you see the graphic very on purpose behind me of stones moving very slowly through my kidney and intestinal tract. Anyway, I couldn't miss this week because I took last week off. It was my brother-in-law's wedding, which was amazing. Destiny was there. We all had such a great time and really beautiful experience. Tears in my eyes for just how beautiful it was. And then Stephanie and I whisked, can't even say it, but I'll try it, whisked each other off to our favorite hot springs, Lava Hot Springs here in Idaho. It's an hour from where we live, and it's where I had my back-to-back strokes in 2020. And so every time we go there, we rewrite the story in a much more comfortable way than the less comfortable experience we had there. And we had a really, really nice time. And one of the things that happened, I wrote a little bit about in the newsletter, is when Stephanie and I get in hot water, the literal hot water, not the figurative hot water, we tend to there's a flow of energetic consciousness that happens between us and God, universe, source. And we planned out our entire schedule we're strategizing the schedule this week for 2026. And it is more, I kind of thought the Vegas show was going to happen. And now as I dig a little deeper, I'm like, could be 18 months from now or something like that. And I'm like, well, we don't really want to be retired for that much longer. This has been a nice little break since March of this year, but we want to get back out there. And so we're going to take the not the entire, but the foundation of the Vegas show out on the road and test it out at big venues all over the country. Now, we won't have the Cirque du Soleil dancers and all the acrobatics and all that stuff, but it's super exciting. And we spent 2 hours in the hot springs that day, and we were like, I'm surprised that we could even feel the water because it felt like we were levitating way above it. And so Houston, Texas, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Kansas City, and then looking at possibilities of San Diego, Los Angeles, and north of San Francisco. So planning on like 6 or 8 of the big 333 bowl events in 2026, and then some filler events along the way also. And we'll also be introducing a certification program to train sound healers. Now we're doing that to train them to be part of our experience. So I'm not training people 45 minutes before the show. And we'll get to a city 2 weeks early, and we'll find our 24 volunteers, and they'll be enlisted in the training program, which they have to do to volunteer. And then we will invite people from the community to pay for the training and get certified, the Dr. Dream sound healing certification. So it's kind of, not kind of, that would be a ridiculous way to say it. It is absolutely exciting. And we're, us, we never dip our foot in the pool before we get in. We just dive right in. And that's what we're doing in 2026. So hopefully we'll be coming to a venue near you. And yes, so that's all exciting. Also, I didn't mention it, but Seattle. So Susie, you may be able to see us. And if you don't come to us, we'll come to you. So this is all really good stuff. We were brainstorming about the topic for next week, but we haven't settled on it yet. But it's at the tip of our tongues, and so we'll let you know when that comes about. And I hope you all get the newsletter. And if you don't, go to itsallgood.com, and there's a little box up in the top of the page where you can put in your email address, and we faithfully send out a newsletter every Monday. Also in news this past week that really sort of crescendoed today is that Darylle Virginia Dennis and I, and in our collaboration, have created a website, and it is quantumallianced2.com for our new entity called Quantum Alliance D Squared. And one of the things that we do is, before my kidney stone kicked in yesterday, we made 7 videos, one for every day of this week. And they're shorts. They're all under 15 minutes long. And we'll be doing that every Sunday and getting them posted on Sunday, so people can go to quantumallianced2.com and get their quantum boost in a short video that we've done. And I have to tell you that I wish my whole day had been like it was making videos with Darylle, because we had so much fun and the energy was so expansive. Really loving it. So tonight, the instructions were, and that's why I hope you all get the newsletter, because it'll always be the announcement for this, what we're doing in this. If you don't see it on Facebook, will always be in the newsletter on Sunday night. But the title tonight is Share and Discuss Your Favorite Quote. And so I'm really liking this thing where we have everybody participate. I 2 weeks ago was an incredibly special experience. Wow, it sort of brings a little tear to my eye, because it was so impactful for me to hear everyone share. And my friend Gail, who is dealing with her challenges in North Dakota, was on, and that was a beautiful thing. And then my wife, who's normally just this picture here of the two of us with the deer in the background, she shared, and she's even got a quote for us tonight. So it's just special. It's oh, I can blame my emotionality tonight on the kidney stone. But it's just really nice for me on Monday nights for us all to to get together and share in my kidney stone adventure. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, because I don't feel like I should put anyone else in that place. My particular quote for tonight, geez, it doesn't belong to a single person. So many people have used this quote over the years. Nobody can really track down where it started. We do know that it has ancient origins, but we just don't know where. It has been popularized in English in the 19th century by poets and writers. And in my own life, I've used it a lot. And as soon as I say it, you will understand the value of what it means to me right now. The quote is, "This too shall pass." So while it may be just a ode to my kidney stone, I did a little write-up on it, and I call it a lesson from the stone within. And so that phrase, "this too shall pass," is not foreign to anyone. We've all heard of it. It rolls off the tongue easy. It's often offered at comfort in hard times. Yet when life decides to press us, when discomfort becomes more than a metaphor, those words stop being a cliche and start to become a living truth. It's also fascinating to me that it's not just related to aspects of life or our experience that are less than comfortable. Um, we can be experiencing the greatest joy ever, and the truth is that this too shall pass also. And so it speaks of being present. First of all, whatever is our less than comfortable experience, there is a lesson there. There's something for us. And for me, my own body decided to bring this teaching home in the form of kidney stone, a tiny crystalline messenger carrying a large dose of awareness. Last night, in my tears and vocal exclamations, it was not lost on me that there's something in it for me, not just an incredibly painful experience. And pain's an interesting thing. It's like it collapses all timelines, doesn't really care about tomorrow or yesterday. It demands presence. It brings you right into the present moment, like it or not. That's what it does. And one of the challenging things I've said about pain in the past is that it's challenging to process what's going on when you're in pain. Because it is ever so present. It's like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to sit here and just do some free form journaling on what this is about. Literally, I spent the majority of last night in tears. I still haven't fully processed more than what I'm sharing with you now. But I did last night. It wasn't lost on me that we were doing quotes today, and immediately I was like, I know my quote. I have no idea who said it, but this too shall pass, and it gave me some comfort, and it just allowed me to know that there's something on the other side of this. And this is not my first kidney stone, so it's not my first rodeo. Thank goodness I'm not at a rodeo experiencing my kidney stone. That would be really less than comfortable. But yeah, this too shall pass. I honor that. And then, as I was thinking about it, I've used that quote so many times, but really it was always in times of less than comfortable experiences. And then today, as I was going over it, I thought, like this relates to every moment, and no matter how much we like a moment, it's going to pass. And no matter how much we don't like a moment, it's also going to pass. And it just got me thinking about happier experiences in my life. And that I don't know whether it's where I am in my timeline or all the experiences I've had, but I tend not to take anything I tend not to take anything for granted. You never know. One of the more shocking experiences in my life is when my brother passed in 2020. It kind of, you have an inkling that your that your parents are going to go, but never really kind of thought about my brother going, and since that time, I don't want to take anything for granted because you just don't know. You don't know if this is the last time you're going to see that person or, share laughter with the person or or what? And so, oh, I have quite a bit to process tonight after this call. So that's my quote. I'm just going to end it there. I'm not going to do the timer. We don't have a lot of people on, and so we're just going to let people sort of free flow with it. Just be recognizant of the time and where you are in the lineup. And now, just because they've signed on to be part of this and to be part of the foundation, I'm going to call on Phil to go ahead and jump in as I jump off. And I may put my camera off or on as I go through this. Again, I'm a little bit on the emotional side and certainly a little bit on the less uncomfortable side. So this too shall pass. Phil, here you go.
All right. So I'm going to take you back right now to a little bit of Shakespearean time. And I've actually changed this quote a little bit to fit the now. And that is, the question is, to be or not to be is no longer the question. So some of you may get my humor in that, being Mr. B. But another quote that I've mentioned before, that myself and my wife went through a pretty traumatic time with taking care of somebody, and there being a very large lawsuit and all kinds of money and all kinds of whatever, and we got some lessons. And during those times, the two of us discovered what was called the release technique, and it's also known as the Sedona method. Lester Levinson created the Sedona method in Sedona, and then Larry Crane took it over as Lester Levinson passed away. Larry Crane took it over for a number of years, and he passed away as well. But this quote by Lester Levinson, which it touched me a little bit, is the only limitations that we have are the ones that we accept. And it's a very interesting quote, because the guy that first jumped 7 feet apparently didn't realize that he wasn't supposed to. And so that has always stuck with me, because the people that really attain things above and beyond imagination are the ones that don't know that they shouldn't, or don't believe that they can't. And so, that just makes a lot of sense to me, that our limitations are only what we make them. And so, yeah, it's an interesting thing. And Dr. Dream, what you were speaking about, the release technique is about neutrality, because when things go down, the idea is to bring them back up to neutral. But when also things go up, we also know that that's not going to last either. And so the ups and downs, we just try to balance in neutral. And so the more we can stay in a neutral plane, the more relaxed, the more comfortable, the more everything that we are. And that, to me, is the place of be. So, yeah, it's just an interesting thing for me, and everybody can give up their limitations and go for the sky. So, who wants to go next? Destiny?
Sure, I'll go next. I really appreciated your quote, Dr. Dream. I love that. I think that it speaks really well to the impermanence of life, and understanding the impermanence of life really brings the beauty forth. And presence is so important. And then your second quote as well there, Phil, that was really beautiful. The world is truly created by what we see and believe of ourselves. So that kind of leads into my quote a little bit, and mine comes from Neville Goddard. And so there's two here that kind of tie in together in the very first chapter of The Power of Awareness. And the first is, I am is the self-definition of the absolute, the foundation on which everything rests. I am is the first cause, substance. I am is the self-definition of God. And it goes on to say, I am is a feeling of permanent awareness. The very center of consciousness is the feeling of I am. I may forget who I am, where I am, what I am, but I cannot forget that I am. The awareness of being remains regardless of the degree of forgetfulness of who, where, or what I am. So that quote means a lot to me because I believe that God is within all of us and we all have the power of God within us. And when we use the words I am, we are directing our belief and our manifestation and the power of God through us. So I don't have a whole lot to say on it besides that.
Thank you, Destiny. And who is ready to be the next up on the share your quote on the It's All Good Circle? Sylvie, go ahead, please.
Sylvie.
Yeah, my quote is a really popular quote. It's a quote from Gandhi. What means be the change you want to see in the world. And the beauty of it is I even formed it in be the love you want to see in the world. And it's something what is even connected to the Hermetic laws, what is inside of me. This is what I will find outside of me. And it keeps me going because, yeah, we all have to deal with our things in life and with triggers and how we grow up. But it keeps me going because I was even fascinated by the story of Gandhi. And what was really pregnant and it burned in my brain literally was this situation that he got slapped in the face and he just smiled to this foreigner and he said, okay, if it makes you feel better, here's the other side. And it includes for me so much like this, why I changed it in be the love you want to see in the world, because we never know if someone is angry and mean to us, what's happened to this person, why this person is like this, and how he reacted to it. This is literally a goal to become this calm, gentle, loving, settled person that is acting in this way and say, okay, if this makes you feel better, here's the other side. And I think this is really a way how we can change the world to react completely different when something not nice, harmful, mad, or bad is happened to us. Instead of reacting with our own triggers and answering back in the same way, it's like you can't stop war with weapons. This doesn't work. Yeah, and that's the quote who keeps me alive and keeps me running and keeps me keep on going, working on myself to become the better version that I know that is deep inside of me and everybody else. Nobody is born mean. Yeah. That it is. And thank you
Thank,
for all your beautiful quotes. I love.
thank you, Sylvie. Appreciate you. Who would like to go next? Don't make me call on you.
Gail can go.
All right. Excellent, Gail. Thank you.
Okay, wait, gotta pull the quote up again. This is from Robert Heinlein, and it goes, a human being should be able to change a diaper, plan an invasion, butcher a hog, con a ship, design a building, write a sonnet, balance accounts, build a wall, set a bone, comfort the dying, take orders, give orders, cooperate, act alone, solve equations, analyze new problems, pitch manure, program a computer, cook a tasty meal, fight efficiently, die gallantly. Specialization is for insects. So why this quote? This man is describing me. It's like so many things that I can do and want to do, not butcher a hog, of course, but the truth is that all of these things indicate that you're able to function in whatever life throws at you. And yeah, you stumble and you fall down, but you get back up and you learn and you move forward. And so as you get back up and you learn, you add a new skill to your toolbox. And so you end up with a million tools and able to do lots and lots of things. So this has been almost my mantra to go through life. It's learn everything. And if you discover something you don't like, that's okay. Do you know enough to balance the accounts? Okay, you're done with accounting. Move on. Learn to write a sonnet. And that's, I don't know, it just feels like what I want to do with the rest of my life is build this huge skill set that I live and use, and that I make my life better, and through that it makes the lives of other people better. I think that's it.
Thank you, Gail. I appreciate that. That was huge, that quote. It just kept going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But in my own experience, I've always kind of said, I'm not an expert at anything, but I'm really good at a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I don't desire to be a specialist. I love being a generalist, because a generalist is able to pull details from here and there and this thing way over there, pull it all together and make it work as a whole unit. And specialists have a hard time doing that because they're so caught in their specialty.
Like with the blinders on.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Gail. I appreciate it. Linda threw her camera on. Does that mean you want to be next, my dear?
Everybody. Actually, I'm gonna do I'm gonna segue from what you said. This too shall pass. When I was at the Vipassana retreat, they said it differently, and I just shrunk it down to that. This too shall pass. Because the main lesson of the whole thing was everything that arises passes away. Like that was a big thing, that to just, be aware and pay attention to the sensations of your body, just witnessing them, being aware of them, not judging them. There's nothing good or bad about anything. It just is. But everything that arises passes away. And it's, the resistance to that is what was like holding me back with a lot of stuff. So I've just been focusing a lot on it a lot. And there was something, I think there was a short that Dr. Michael did recently that tied into that because they had told us to try during certain hours of the meditation hours 3 times a day to actually resist moving regardless of what discomfort, pain, or otherwise that might come up. Uh, and that was kind of challenging because sometimes when you are meditating, you want to move or your nose itches or, something. And, but there was something Dr. Michael was saying that the pain, like it was not in the same context, obviously, but that the pain that comes up may very well be a release, an energetic release. So that very pain that's coming up, because you're sitting there focusing with Vipassana, you're focusing on the sensations. So if a pain does arise, it may very well be arising to release. And by moving and readjusting yourself, you're keeping yourself from releasing it, possibly. So anyway, I learned a lot at the Vipassana thing, and that's what I walked away with because I don't like saying everything that arises passes away. This too shall pass. And the good, bad, and the ugly. The first meal I went to afterwards, and they cooked some really good meals there. They were Vietnamese because it was a Vietnamese chef or instructor. They were cooking. As I took a bite out of it, I was like, oh my God, this too shall pass. Yeah, it was so good, but I had to remind myself, just be aware, this too shall pass, but it's good in the meantime. So I wasn't quite, learning the lesson, and I still haven't completely, but that's a big one. It's a big one. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that, Linda. Now I see that Stephanie has turned her camera on and her microphone off. So here you go. That's my wife.
Hi, everyone. I just want to touch just a little bit on what Linda said. In Vipassana, it's anicca, which stands for everything changes. So it's, just not holding on to any experience too much because everything is going to change. And I love it sometimes, like when something is like really great or really difficult, just in my head, really short and simple, I'm just like anicca. So that's really cool. My quote is interesting. Like it was pointed out to me, it's been my favorite quote for like over a decade. And it was pointed out to me last year that maybe it's not the best belief system to have. So I'm a little bit, I don't know how I feel about it yet. But anyways, it's by an author named Terry Goodkind. And he wrote this wonderful series with wizards and like heroes and all kinds of stuff. And the wizard says to the guy who's like having to like save the world, he says that nothing worth doing is ever easy. And it just resonated with me. I think I was 18 when I read the book. And it's always resonated with me. And so when I find that something's really difficult, I'm like, well, it must be completely worth doing, because it's hard. It's worth doing. Like, of course, like the reward is going to be so great. But being more of like a conscious creator now, I was very fortunate. I met his sister, the author's sister. Known her for years, but didn't know that was her brother until recently. And I shared that with her, and she goes, "Ooh, that's a tough belief system to live by." And I thought, I was like, wow, you're right. Like I do a lot of amazing stuff, but nothing's ever easy. Like it's always like quite a bit of effort and work, whether it's going and touring and doing events that I love to do, or backpacking and climbing, 8 miles up a mountain with a 44,000 foot elevation gain. Like I like to do hard stuff. So I'm reconsidering that quote for myself to figure out because I do feel like things that are easy are also worth doing. But I need to like reprogram my belief system a little bit so that way the easy things can be just as fulfilling as the hard things, if that makes sense. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's always been my favorite quote. And now I'm like, I don't know if that's a good quote. Another quote that I really love is also from a book. And it's funny because it was, again, from when I was younger. But it goes something like, if you could love fully and completely, knowing that it would end in heartbreak, would you still take the opportunity to love fully and completely? Or would you like step away from the chance of the pain and not experience the love at all? And I always thought that that was really beautiful because, like, of course you go for the love, right? But it doesn't really work for me now because I'm like super in love and I don't really think that Dr. Dream's ever going to break my heart. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, I feel like that's all I have to say right now, but thank you all so much for being here with me. And I'm loving hearing everybody's quotes. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I thought you were going to relate the first quote to your life with me. I'm glad you didn't do that. Okay. Oh, it's good to laugh. It really is good to laugh, right, Kidney Stone? All right, who's up next? Go ahead, Susie.
Okay, so I didn't know what the assignment was until 10 minutes before the call, and I don't know if I ever had a quote. I really like the one, "And this too shall pass." And like Stephanie, there is this one quote that sticks in my head. It was at the beginning of a book called The Presence Process by Michael Brown. And the very first quote on there was, "No one is coming to save you from yourself." And I thought, as much as I used to all ego, he basically had a lot of physical things going on, and the presence process was this breathing practice on a daily basis for a certain amount of time. I can't remember how long it was, and it progressed on, and he would, through this process, get through whatever was coming up through the breathing process. Emotional stuff from buried cellular debris of, whatever. And that quote just always stuck with me. And I've actually used it a couple of times, and I'm not real sure how kind that was to say that to somebody. Nobody is coming to, and for myself, it really struck a chord in that it's true, it's like, whatever this is going on up here, it's like the ego likes to suffer, and it got really good at it. And so I realized that it's not it's not a great inspirational quote, but it definitely strikes somewhere deep inside of me, that I realize that what it means to me is no one is coming to save you from yourself, is all that churning and burning that goes on is kind of like spiritual fodder. It's suffering, and I don't want to suffer anymore, and I'm not saying that I won't ever suffer again, but I can recognize, I believe that I'm getting better at recognizing who's talking when this stuff comes up in my head. It's like, okay, all right, who's talking here? Is this the loving voice of, is this the loving voice of God speaking to me? And if it's just really, it's probably not. And so I am continuing to differentiate the voices in my head. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
Thank you, Susie. Personally, that quote to me is very empowering. And it's like that one that's like, we are the ones we've been waiting for. So I like that. Who's next? There is no list, but we're getting down. I will, Vienna, you just turned on your camera. Okay, that was a good sign. Go ahead, Darrylle.
I am visiting a friend in the hospital in California. So I am in a completely different location. You would not have guessed that by the white wall behind me. And so as I thought of what quote I wanted to share, my friend Lori is Hebrew in background and culture, Jewish, and it came to me that one of the first pivotal quotes for me on my journey from linear time and thinking and whatever was a college professor talking about in Western history, we see time as linear. You start over here and then you go across whichever way. Yeah, left to right, definitely always. And then he said, what's intriguing, and this was an Old Testament class, is a Hebrew culture is that time is cyclical. And it just like almost blew my mind. I was like, what are we talking about right now? Cyclical? And it's just, every month is the same, a lunar calendar, right? And the years and all the beautiful traditions, the beautiful holidays. And I was really quite taken with all of that. And so that was lovely to stop thinking of, or to adjust from linear is the only choice there is to, oh my goodness, there's this beautiful, repetitive, rich, each cycle just gets richer, And then somebody, and I don't remember quite where and when I learned this, they said, not only is it cyclical, it's spiral. And so, and it can be down or up. And if something looks familiar, like I remember a sinking sensation the day as a young mom of 2 or 3 or 4, however I was in the process, I found one of my college journals and I thought, oh, let's look and see how much I've grown. And it was like verbatim from that day. And I was like, doggone it. What in the world? Same issues, procrastinating, whatever. And then this idea fleshed out a little more to say, just because something looks familiar, it doesn't mean I'm on the same plane cycling. I'm either up or down. Right. And if you think of a building, let's say cement block building, they don't build one whole wall and then the other side wall and then the back wall and then the other side wall and then hope they hang together or steel band them together or something. There's this interlocking thing. You go this way and then this way and you go all the way around, one row, next row, next row, next row, and it's all tied in beautifully. And if this wall down here is by a kitchen, just because I see the kitchen element of the house again doesn't mean I'm still back at the foundation. I'm actually going up. I'm building up and I'm going to have a completed house somewhere along the way. So I like the encouragement that just because something looks familiar, it doesn't mean I took 3 steps forward, 4 steps back or something. I'm actually going around again, and that's as it should be. And then the other thing that was super encouraging to me about this spiral idea was, even if I'm cycling down, all I have to do is turn around and take a step. And now I'm going back up. If you think about a screw, it's little, and as with the passing of time, this too shall pass. Where I am right now, I'll just keep going and I'll be up out of that hole in no time. So that has been one of my greatest lessons. Couldn't tell you, like Dr. Dream, who to attribute it to, but grateful it found me and I found it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vienna. I appreciate that. Now we're getting down to the short end of the list. Who would like to share a quote and discuss it?
I can bring something up again.
Yes, please.
So we have quotes and we have sayings, and this particular saying really in everything is in perspective. And the saying being silence is golden. And so a friend he's actually passed away now, but he has a son, his son is still alive, but his son George had some pretty severe disorders, if I might say, or challenges. And George could not speak, and George could hear, but he could not speak. And so the whole notion that silence is golden, not so much for George. And so it gave me a different perspective of some things that, so the song was written, and I think it was a Simon Garfunkel song, maybe Silence is Golden, or was that a Frankie Valli? I don't remember. But that whole notion, it sounds really good, but put it into a different perspective and maybe it's not so good. So, but this being the It's All Good show, we'll allow it to stand. So, there.
I like that. It made me, when you said silence is golden, it made me think of that saying, better to be thought a fool than to speak up and remove all doubt. I, of course, don't know how that works because I've never been the quiet one, but it is an interesting saying. Okay. Thank you, Phil, for filling in there for the people that are feeling that silence is golden, although now they're going to have to come out of it. We've got Terry, we've got Darylle, we've got Karen, and we've got Regina Richards, and it's her first time on the It's All Good Circle. And Regina and I go back so many years, 20 plus years. And so I don't want to put her on the spot, but I don't mind putting Terry or Karen or Darylle on the spot. And Darylle, let's just jump to Darylle, because so much of your outreach of what you have to share has its foundation in some of the most powerful quotes ever. And so if anything, your challenge with tonight's show may be how to narrow it down to one, but we got some time, and so I'd be more than happy for you to share two of them if you want. Are you good with that?
I am. Thank you. So thank you, everybody. The quotes are wonderful to listening to everyone, because that's, Dr. Dream and I were talking about on one of the calls, the brief interviews we did about the baseline. And our favorite quote is usually a baseline that we operate from, because there's something about it that rings true. So we anchor the building of our life on those quotes. This is super cool. Before sharing the quote, particular one, I wanted to say something about what Linda was sharing, because it was super important. And especially with Dr. Dream going through what he's going through. But how Linda described that, Linda was pretty wonderful, because, and I can't say it as well as you did, but what it brought up as a memory for me is I had for 7-8 months, a very large portion on the left side of my body was, what is that called? Shingles. And I didn't know what that was. And so the other thing I learned after the fact is that if you get that, I thought it was like a fever blister. So I didn't know, blister, plural, it was a whole area. But anyway, I had a seminar to give like all day seminar, 150 people. And it was a full day kind of thing. It was really an intensive. And putting nylon stockings over that was the most painful thing on the planet. And so, and then a guest had come in from Germany. So there were some things that postponed me going and finding out what it was. So by the time I did, it was like the fourth day. And what the doctor said, you need to have caught this in the first 48 hours and we could have done something. But now it's going to run its course. The pain of that was the most significant pain I've ever felt in my lifetime. It felt like Pac-Man inside the skin part of my body on the inside with sharp teeth, biting and pulling, a whole bunch of them. It was the most horrible thing ever. And it was unimaginable. It was unimaginable. And so, and I was still, scheduled all over Colorado to do events and managed to do them. One was so severe when they asked me to go up to the podium, I asked if they wouldn't mind if we did this informal and I could do it from where I was sitting, because if I stood, I would have fallen down. It was that severe. So what Linda basically said that I had this experience is that the childhood that I grew up in that had so much abuse and neglect and cruelty and all kinds of punishment on an ongoing basis, that it was so hard and then also lonely because there weren't any grown-ups that would step in and stop it or protect me or anything. I mean, none. So I was really isolated from the family and everything because the word got out that I was this very bad child. And so all of that was so painful that I stopped feeling, in a sense. I shut down any reaction that would have had and buried that energy of scared, terrorized, sad, hungry. I mean, all the stuff that went with all of that, buried it deep in my body, physical body. Then I never faced it. I never cried about it. And this is something that you brought up, Linda. You said it better than I'm about to say this. But what happened is that pain was so severe on this shingle thing that it pulled out of me all that sadness from a different time that had nothing to do with the shingles. It was something that I hadn't cried that hard ever in my lifetime, just from the pain. But as the crying was happening, this other pain was being released. Oh, that's what you said, Linda, that struck me, that it's being released. Some other pain is being released. And that's what happened. And that the sobbing was from the unreleased pain from all those years that I never ever faced. And that turned out, that shingles thing turned out, it was 7 months. It was a super long time of that horror, but it was the catalyst to release stuff that was just stuck in there for a very long time. So I really appreciated, Linda, you saying that. Would you like to say any more about that? Because it's a really important subject.
Yeah, I mean that was, yeah, that feel for you, because that must have been very painful and drug out that way. It reminded me of when I was at the Oneness Awakening course. I had done a weekend workshop, and they had told me, or it was part of the course, that 10% of our pain is actually physiological. The other 90% is how we respond to it, or what it's doing to us or bringing up. My companion Echo here reminded me of something. And that went a long way. So I had learned a good part of that there also, because whenever there is pain now, I always say, what the heck, what do you want to tell me now? I'm so adamant when I talk to God.
Yeah.
But I've picked up the patterns, like certain patterns. When my sciatica is acting up, it's my resistance to moving forward. So I have to stop and really contemplate that. So there, like because I'm so stubborn, I keep repeating the pain until I figure out the pattern. So there's pros and cons to it. But yeah, the pain, it's related to something.
Yeah.
It's related to some emotional counterpart, because every emotion has an energetic counterpart that's stuck within us. That's what the EE system is all about, and wanting to dissipate and or release that. So
that's
Dr.
what, yeah, it
Dream,
really struck me when you said that, because that's actually what happened, is that the sadness, it was more than sad. It was a terror. I mean, terrified at time. I mean, it was like being so afraid. But, the other part, when I was coming home from school, I would stop in front of the house and get it and tap into intentionally a sense of how safe is it inside. Well, that caused an intuitive skill to be developed very young, very, very early in my life. But that was such a gift. And who would have known something that absolutely severe, horrifying, whatever that it was called shingles. And I had never heard of that. So, but however, the pain was so severe, it actually became a catalyst to free me of the deep stuff I never even looked at or touched or ever under any circumstance, to the point of not remembering most of my childhood. I hadn't remembered actually, but then it was pulling out. So anyway, that was pretty cool. So I wanted to comment on your share, because I think it's really super important, because Dr. Dream's going through some physical kind of pain too right now, and maybe it's connected to something else that is helping him alleviate something. And so that's that's making me cry, because I know he's suffering so much right now. But but that pain might be releasing others, is like what you said. And so that's why I love that you shared that today. So then
a good resource.
Yeah.
Let me just add a
Please,
good
please,
resource
please.
for that, because I'm experienced. I've got all kinds of Louise Hay. Always look up the spiritual significance
Oh yeah.
of whatever the pain is.
Yes, that's right.
Or anything.
Yes.
And I looked up the kidney thing and I sent it to you, Dr. Dream. I
Oh.
think it might be appropriate.
Ooh, I'd like to know.
Thank you.
Can you
I
share, or is
appreciate
it
that.
private? Is it private, or can you share? That sounds really interesting.
No, it has to do with morsels of anger, something like that. I pasted it from the A, but anger that hasn't been dissipated. And there might be a topic that is still hovering, that you have to get rid of the morsels that remain, or something like that.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll just thank you.
So thank you for that, Linda, and for sharing what you did share, because that's just super important, that because we're transitioning into a higher frequency, and we can't hide any energy that we're hiding. It needs to be a pure spirit filled with love and appreciation. Do you know what I mean? Because that's where we're heading, into a realm, fifth dimensional realm, that is that. And so anyway, but my very favorite quote, I would have to say, of all time, is Albert. Actually, I have two of them, since Dr. Dream asked. two of them, and they happen to both be from Albert Einstein. But the one that I love the absolute most is that the spirit that moves the universe is the same spirit that moves our soul. And the reason I'm going to cry, I love that so much, is what my passion is, that for a very, very long time, is for people to be a catalyst, a support, an encouragement, inspiration, for people to wake up to the magnificence of who they be. And they have no idea, because there's so much indoctrination being run in, everywhere from childhood to what kind of parents to teachers to, authorities at work and all kinds of stuff that are, and there's a lot of jealousy that happens, and a lot of stuff happens around us as we're kind of going through this journey called Earth in this time period, that if we listen to it and if we agree with all the judgment that comes our way, which a lot of people do, can't help, because the other part is we're socialized. We want to be part of a group and part of the human family and things like that. So when others criticize us and judge us, it feels bad because it's like being evicted from the group. So it has aspects on it that kind of grows over time. And so the secret is when we can view ourselves from a higher view. That's what I'm passionate about with the quantum living, moving at the speed of life, because it's a guide on how to get in the high states, how to stay in the high states. And when there's any negativity that arises, it's very clear on where that's coming from, and then how to rise above that to be able to stay there. And then my second favorite quote from Albert Einstein that speaks to the same issue really is the only constant in the universe is change. He didn't say top three. You know what I mean? He didn't say, he said the only constant in the universe is change. And at the same time, what's happening in the universe is things are speeding up. The energy is accelerating. So how do we keep up with the speed? Is living intuitively, which is the subtitle of quantum living. Moving at the speed of life means moving intuitively. When we get an intuitive hit, it's something that's instant, responding to it instantly. And then that for the moment, and in that moment, somehow that moment is connected to the future. And it becomes very important to listen to our intuitive self. However, the challenge is that because so many people, it's a really high number. I can't quantify it, but it's a high number. But there's a really lot of people that think they're little with no power. It's the biggest lie ever told. I know it was indoctrination from the evil sources on the planet that want to control everything and be the elite, and the rest of us serve them and all that stuff. That's all changing. But the way to change into these higher frequencies, it's important to raise self-view into through divine eyes, because it's important to have the self-worth to listen to yourself when you get the message. Do you know what I mean? It's like connected. And so those two are, so one is that it just raises the bar gigantic on who we be. We're divine beings and we're quite magnificent. We've been given all kinds of talents and skills and gifts and all kinds of things to use to serve people. And in the serving of people is when we awaken to our value while we're serving some others. That's the perfect infinity sign. So that the next part would be possible. Because if the only constant in the universe is change, and we need to smoothly align and embrace change, that will be possible and successful when we listen to our intuitive information that's coming from divine source, that's coming from inside of us. So those are my two. I'm super passionate about both of those, because ultimately inside of both of those is a very powerful commitment and passion to support people, inspiring people, and encouraging people to rise, to see who they be from a higher eye, from a divine eye, and retire this idea that's coming from an ego base of we're little with no power. So that's that about that.
Thank you, Darylle. I appreciate you and your insights and your quotes tonight. Karen, Regina, and Terry, who wants to jump in? there's a cricket there that wants to jump in. Did you hear that cricket? Because I didn't hear anything else. All right. Well, y'all don't have to. It's not a requirement. We appreciate you being here and don't want to have anyone out of their comfort level. So that's
Stephanie's
all.
ready.
Stephanie's done one. Are you ready for another?
Yeah.
Well, it's so like when Phil went about like just like kind of like things that you say, and I don't know if this would be a quote or a thing that you say, and I want you and Destiny to jump in on it too, but one of my favorite sayings to live by is divine perfection in all things. And it's really like just kind of like allowing whatever is to be and understanding that like even if it doesn't make sense, it will eventually make sense, or it might not, but that like it is supposed to be happening in that way, unfolding in that way. It's a really powerful one for me, like when things aren't going how I want them to, or like when I'm like, why is this happening? Just reminding myself like it's all divine perfection. And then it's really cool when later on you do realize like why it happened that way. You're like, oh wow, that really was divine perfection. And I find that just living with that in my heart gives me a lot of grace to like walk with ease in this life, in this crazy world that we live in. So I just wanted to bring up that quote. And if you guys don't know it, talk more to Dr. Dream about it. It's amazing. And it really has been a game changer for me. And I would love for Destiny to share about how it's also been a game changer for her, and then also for Dr. Dream to talk about it a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Destiny, you're up.
Yes, definitely that quote has changed my life. It's become quite the cornerstone of how I like to live my life. Most of you know I just got into a relationship this year, and it's going fabulously, amazingly. And it's been one of the biggest eye-openers of how divine perfection really works, because there's so much about the way that we came together that took all of these little things to happen. And I needed to go through everything that I've been through in my life to be the person that I am today, to be ready for this relationship that's so fulfilling in my life. And it makes me so grateful for everything that I've been through, and for everybody, for every relationship that I wanted to work and failed. I'm grateful for that now. And it just it's incredibly divine. If I had met this person in a different life, if I had been a different person, or he had been a different person, it wouldn't be anything like it is right now. And it was worth everything that it took to get here. And so that's kind of been my really beautiful view on it lately. But even before this happened, for so much of my life, it's just so obvious to me that things don't happen on accident, and that every journey has a purpose. And it truly is, it's truly divinely guided. You look at everything about this universe and you cannot believe that it's an accident. It's all a divine, intentional, conscious creation.
Yes.
Beautiful, you two. I love you sharing that. It's been a mainstay belief system of mine for years, and it kind of goes along with my it's all good, and if it doesn't appear that way, we just don't understand it yet. And so yeah, divine perfection in all things. Regina, I see you have turned on your camera, and this is you.
Oh.
I'm so happy to see you, dear.
Good to hang out with you a bit. I've more or less been keeping track of you. I am now living on the East Coast. I've traveled a lot around quite a bit over the last, 2 decades or so, since you and I were in the same place. And it's been an interesting journey. But what prompted me to speak up, well, let me back up. It's bedtime here on the East Coast. I'm already in bed. So I'm enjoying all the conversations and all of the comments and wishing I could turn out the light and go to sleep. But here I am. But that comment about one of my favorite, I have several favorite sayings, but one of them is, there are no accidents in life. Everything that happens is purposeful, on some level,
Oh no. We lost her. She jumped. She fell off. Oh, here we are.
I lost you. I evidently touched something on the computer that I shouldn't have.
Hey, there are no accidents in life.
Yeah, right. What are you going to do? But I just, a month ago, relocated to the East Coast where I have a lot of family. And I haven't found a place to live. I'm imposing on family members right now in one place or another. But that quote about there are no accidents in the universe. And last year, I completed a shamanic training course, I guess, with Alberto Villoldo's Four Winds Society. And that shifted every perspective that I had about life and my life and what's going on. So one of my other favorite quotes is there are two birds sitting on a telephone wire. And the mama bird is looking down at the baby bird and saying, "You are the universe pretending to be a bird." That's kind of the foundation for how I now perceive my adventures. And then there's another quote. It's a starry sky. And one of the stars is saying, "Being a human was the hardest thing I ever did." And another star in the sky is saying, "Yeah, me too." So this human adventure that we're having, yeah, that course that I took, while I had some of those concepts kind of rolling around in my awareness, the shamanic course that I took, which taught me so many energy processes to do and use and with, um, I think it grounded me in that sense of I am the universe pretending to be a human. You know, I am source. I'm it. And one of these days I'll have to go back and experience that again, at that level. So I had no idea that this course was going to be such a profound shifter for me. But I have now this year I celebrated my 85th birthday, and the last 2 years, my body's been telling me it's not been happy, and stuff is happening. And there was a question whether I could actually manage to relocate to the East Coast because of stuff going on in my back. And there's a whole symbolism that I feel around that. But I felt like, okay, if I'm supposed to do this, if this is for my highest good, if this is a way that I'm going to learn something that I haven't yet learned that I need to learn, or that I'm going to do something or accomplish something that I haven't yet succeeded in. So I said, okay, I'm just going to do what I have to do. And so here I am, not having yet found my home on
Whoop.
She came back once. I bet she'll come back again.
I guess I'm waving my hand over my computer in ways that it interprets somehow. But anyway, so I thought something happened just this past spring. Actually, after I got to the East Coast, something happened. I was visiting with my son in Maryland, and I thought that was it. I thought this was my exit. I'm leaving. This is my time out of here. But it didn't happen. I was obviously still here. Still tootling around right now with my sister, and in 2 days going over to hang out with my brother. So when I think about the fact that according to statistics, I've outlived the years that I was supposed to have statistically, it's a very real thought that I may get to re-experience, not for the first time, but again, experience being the universe pretending to be a person. So, and Dr. Dream, you know that I know you way back, and I've watched you as you have evolved into who you are and the way you look and all that, and it's been fun. Thank you for staying connected.
Thank you, Regina. Well, I'll blame the kidney stone for me being emotional right now. You, and I tell you this whenever I see you, you have played a pivotal role in my life at different times. And in Sedona, you came into my life for me and for Maya at a very important time. And your wisdom, your outlook, the example of who you are has always hit very deep for me. And even what you say tonight has a tremendous impact. And I'm so grateful. I saw you jump into the room, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because this is Monday night, and it's just about, I mean, actually everyone that's here is consistently here. We haven't really been growing the It's All Good circle. And so it's a very comforting place to show up to each Monday night, and having you here made it all the more comfortable. And having you here in this lifetime has made it all the more comfortable. Thank you.
Well, it's been wonderful watching the journey. I also want to let you know that I actually came on, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I didn't stay the whole time. As I said, it's my bedtime over here. But I'm here tonight and delighted to be, so thank you.
So now I'm remembering that there was a Regina on, but your last name wasn't on the thing, I'm sure, because I would have recognized that. So I thought it was someone else.
You're right, because I changed the name that showed up. So you're right.
Well, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for dipping in one time before. This is, there was a part of me that the last thing I wanted to do tonight, based on everything that I have going on, was this. And I said, no, this is going to be good for you. And sure enough, it has been. Thank you for the different thoughts and reminders on my own situation. Thank you all for sharing quotes that are meaningful to you and sayings that are meaningful for you, and giving us all an opportunity to grow with your perspective of those quotes. I love the topic for tonight. We'll have another good topic for next week. Make sure you check the newsletter, or if it's an assignment kind of thing, I will let you know well enough beforehand, Susie. But I'm grateful, and my life is enriched by the presence of every single one of you here. I don't believe in luck. And so I'll just say that as I look at each of the boxes in front of me and connect with each of you, that there's no denying that I am a very blessed being in this lifetime. And so I thank you all for being here. It's wonderful. And as always, my closing words are and will be, I love you, and I love each and every one of you. And thank you for who you are and showing up ever so beautifully in this experience for the rest of the world. You all have a wonderful evening. We'll have an update next week on the kidney stone, and I'm going to do some pretty hardcore reflection and check in with Louise Hay's material. I always type in for my clients to to Google or AI metaphysical meaning of, and then whatever it is. And so it's been over 2 years, and I need to reconnect with my own metaphysical meaning of what I'm going through, and plenty of time to process it and cry it out and release it before our next gathering. That's my intention. And again, I love you. I will carry this love with me through the rest of the week and into next Monday when we connect again. And I hope you all do the same thing. Thank you for being in the It's All Good circle.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.